Before I start this interview, I just want to go ahead and quickly point out that there are a couple technical difficulties. For some odd reason, there were a couple frames that were just out of sync, and I couldn't properly sync it with the audio. I think I just had bad Wi-Fi or something, so bear with me. But I hope you guys enjoy this interview. We talked about a lot of things, such as her last run in the WWE, the Diva search, and so much more. And shout out to Maria for giving me 1 hour of her precious time. I know I just kept rambling in the interview, but it was one of my favorite interviews. And I was really nervous. I was super nervous to do this because she was on the list to have for the Dropkick podcast for a long, long time. And the fact that I had her just interviewing her, it was a pretty cool opportunity, like I mentioned in an interview. But I hope you enjoy the interview. Like, share, subscribe, do all that, and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys for always supporting. And follow the Dropkick Pod on Instagram, and the rest will be in the description. But as of now, take it easy, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the interview. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of the Dropkick Podcast. I am your host, Danial, and today I'm joined with the First Lady of Professional Wrestling. She's a former knockout champion, a Diva champion, and has been a veteran in this business and has been killing it for over 10 years, and also one of my personal favorite female wrestlers of all time. But at this time, please tell me welcome Maria Kanellis-Bennett. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful.
I just want to say thank you. Before we started recording, I actually told you, I've been trying to get you. But as a little kid, I first saw you on TV, and you were one of my personal favorites, alongside Gail Kim, Triple H, Jeff Hardy. So in that era of SmackDown, you were one of my favorites. So it's a pretty cool opportunity for me. So yeah.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Yeah. But with that being said, I did want to ask, what captivated you about professional wrestling as a fan? What made you want to pursue this as a career?
So, probably when I was about 5 or 6 years old was the first time I broke my brother's nose. I've always been a fighter, and then I saw, the women of professional wrestling are so strong and beautiful, and I really, fell in love with Trish and with Lita, and just how they could be so beautiful and so powerful at the same time, and that drew me in. And then definitely The Rock, and I just love his sense of humor, and he just looked like he was having so much fun. That me being from a very small town and wanting to experience the world, it gave me something to aspire towards.
No, I agree with that. Growing up, like you said, The Rock's always been one of those guys who just captivate you. So it's pretty cool. How was that transition from being a fan to actually pursuing it? At what point did you go maybe this is it, maybe this is what I want to do, and I gotta convince my parents to be hey, mom and dad, gotta push for this?
So I started modeling when I was 14. So my parents always were there supporting me throughout my modeling career, and when I was doing bikini modeling. And I would do these bikini competitions for Hawaiian Tropics in bars when I was 17 and 18 years old. And my mom used to go with me. So my parents have always been incredibly supportive. And I think from the moment I got that very first call asking me to come in for the tryout, from that moment on, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. What was your, first reaction to that call? Because, it must have been big, right? It must have been holy crap.
Oh, yeah. I had just came off of a reality show called Outback Jack. And so coming off of that in May and then getting the phone call in June, or it might have even been at the end of May that they wanted me to come in and do the Diva search. It was insane. So I was actually homeless at the time. I say homeless, but I was in between where I was living. I had places to go, but I had been in Miami, Florida, and then I had done Outback Jack, and then I came back and I was in Kentucky, and I get this phone call to go to one of the searches in Chicago, and it's just like, okay, I got to get up there, and at the time I wasn't staying with my parents. It was insane.
Yeah.
So, it was just a whirlwind. It really was.
No, I figure it must have been hard back in the day, because I think back in the day everyone had like this chip on their shoulder, especially like the woman, to like get like TV time or just like any sort of opportunity, because like it was so hard. So I must have like, I give you props for like, holding it together and like keeping it and like still like pursuing the passion of professional wrestling. But how's it like being part of the Diva Search and working under, Paul Heyman and OVW?
So Paul always gave me an opportunity to grow, which is incredible. And that's why he has such a great mind for this industry, is he's willing to listen to what the talent wants to create. So being able to do that was incredible. Some of the first bumps I ever took was from the Dudley Boys.
Oh, so, no.
It was quite the awakening of, this is what the business is. But you said, especially the Divas had a chip on their shoulder. But I've read that in, other people's books and all this stuff. But the women at the end of the day fought for each other. So even though, there's the gossip mill out there about all these terrible stories,
the dirt sheets,
Divas, it's not that way. I found the male locker room much tougher than the women's locker room. You always knew if you were going to be on TV, depending on what you were dressed like that day and how the boys reacted to you.
Wow.
So, the women, no matter what was going on, we still fought for each other.
Oh, 100%.
And, that's how I saw the locker room. Others, of course, everybody's got their own experiences. But for me, no matter what was going on, we fought for each other.
No, 100%. I think that especially draws bonds closer together, and like it makes you want to work harder as like a whole unit. You know what I mean? But
for sure.
No. What was the you talked about Paul Heyman? Like, what's the best piece of advice he's given you though? Like,
So I think that the biggest thing with Paul has always been that wrestling is not based on 1,000 different moments. It's not 1,000 different storylines, or 1,000, like your legacy isn't built off 1,000 different things. Sometimes it's just built off of one
thing.
Like I talk about my last run in WWE, and everybody's like, oh, it was terrible, blah blah blah. I will be signing that 24/7 championship for the rest of my life. I will be representing that. Like,
no, 100%.
No matter what the story, nobody remembers all the little details. No one remembers that. What people are going to remember are going to be moments. Like, okay, she won the championship, and she pinned her husband, and she was yelling when she was running down the hall saying first pregnant champ.
First pregnant champ, yeah.
Everything else goes away. That's it. Like,
that's true.
That is all. Like, from my first run, it's the same thing. Ric Flair took a bump off of kissing me, or Carlito spit in my face, or Umaga gave me his booty in the corner, or I took the angle slam. Nobody remembers the day-to-day.
No, 100%.
Everyone remembers just those moments.
And that's such a good point. And to add on to that, as a kid, I remember Umaga like attacked you, and I was like so worried. I was like, yo.
Oh my gosh, it was insane. And the men, like, they protected me too.
Yeah.
Like,
that's good.
I worked with all of them. And it's so funny. Like, I hear all these like veterans or whatever saying back in my day or what.
Yeah.
I'm like, I worked right alongside these people, and I still don't feel that way. I don't feel like that was that incredibly long ago. Even though I did work with them all.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you brought up a good point. I think Dolph Ziggler talks about this all the time. Like he talked about working with the Street Profits recently. He's like, I guess now I'm like one of the vets, and like it doesn't feel like it, and it's weird. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
it's weird though, because you see all these new guys and girls come up, and you're just like, man, I'm still killing it. I'm still at the top of my game, and it's
Well,
great.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Hmm.
I I love all of the new talent and
Hmm.
that infusion of technology and social
Yeah.
media and all these different ways of connecting is really exciting and fun. And my husband and I, we talk about it all the time. Like,
Hmm.
you know, you can't say, oh, you got to do things like they were 20 years ago.
No,
Sorry,
100%.
that doesn't
Hmm.
work. We are in
You
this
gotta
new
evolve. Hmm.
era that's really exciting. And like, as much as, I might get asked questions from the new girls about this or that, I'm asking them, like,
Yes.
how is it working for the reality of wrestling down in Texas? And how are they getting such a big a following down there on YouTube? And you know, you you're learning from them too.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. I think as time goes on, the business just keeps evolving, and like, especially now with like NXT and all these different promotions like AEW, New Japan. But like, back in those days, like when you were signed to WWE, like in the early stages, we didn't have that except OVW, and like, the indies weren't even the solidified indies. It was just like small shows to go to town to elevate your name. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to talk about, like, you started off as a backstage interviewer,
Mm-hmm.
on like a Raw, SmackDown. But were you aiming to be a wrestler, or were you kind of just like, hey, I'm just gonna stick to this backstage interview gig for a while and see where it goes? Like, how did that like come together?
So I get asked this a lot. Like, did
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a wrestler right off the bat? Or,
Yeah.
um, no, I loved what Jonathan Coachman was doing, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do what he was doing. He got to
Mm-hmm.
work with The Rock, which is who
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
wanted
the
to work
man.
with. So, for
Mm-hmm.
me, that's why I fell in love with the industry, and that's
Yeah.
it's those moments and those interactions. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started doing that, and then you know things happen, and there's oh, we're gonna throw you in this match. And there was things I was learning when I was in the ring. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do a lot of training. I mean, some girls have been training on the indies for 5 years or 6 years, like Mickey and Beth. And when by the time they got to WWE, they had already spent some time
Yeah.
wrestling. I hadn't. I
Mm-hmm.
came in thinking that I would just be a backstage interviewer, and then the pole of the ring gets its claws into you, and you start trying things out and see what happens.
No, 100%.
So yeah, I mean that wasn't ever the goal. It just happened.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. I think if you just get your foot in the door, a lot of opportunities come up. Like recently, like an example I can think of, like recently, like a couple years ago, Corey Graves got injured, and like his career ended with like concussions. So then he
Mm-hmm.
was, still under the NXT umbrella, and he like just became a commentator, became like
Mm-hmm.
one of those guys, and he's killing it. Like he's one of the best right now. But
Yeah.
like, I did want to ask, like, watching those old clips back from your first run, how did the creative team come up with that character? Like it was just like, you know what I mean? Like it was ditzy. It was like like it wasn't
So
you.
it was so he had to do these promos, and I
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to do for a promo. So I
Yeah.
sang I'm a Little Teapot. And I was just being goofy and
Mm-hmm.
silly, and I sang it, and I was thinking Marilyn Monroe
Yeah.
and how she sang Happy Birthday, and so I was doing my version as I'm a Little Teapot.
Yeah.
And from there, it just kind of went. very bubbly and excited to be there when I first started in WWE. And so I think Vince saw that and he just took it to another level. And it all started with me calling Edge the Edge. And so that started a slew of those kind of moments. And it was great. Like, some people are like, oh, did you hate it? And yes, when I was younger, I hated it. I wanted to be respected, all this. But now I love it because of the opportunities I got. I got to work with everybody. I interviewed everyone, from Tajiri to Flair to Cena, a million times Cena.
Bunch
and
of people.
You watch Cena's character evolve through those interviews too. Like, so I worked with everybody, and now, knowing what I know, I wouldn't have changed anything.
100%. I think everything does happen for a reason. Like, you guys got let go last year, but like, look how far you guys come since, the release till now. Like, your husband had a show last night, and I saw like videos and stuff. I'm like, this guy's killing it. Like, if some company doesn't sign up, sign him to a company, like, they're missing out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's killing it, you're killing it. Like, I can't wait to see what's about to unfold for the future for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're really excited about what we're doing in Ring of Honor. We haven't signed anything long term with them yet, but we're definitely open to working because that's what we love to do. We
100%.
We like to work. That's one of the biggest struggles we had in WWE is we couldn't work. We couldn't do what we love to do. And whether I was pregnant or not pregnant or whatever, like, I wanted to work.
100%. Yeah.
Like, I last year I did this camp with Coco, she's a supermodel, and it was like a modeling camp, but it was also social media and influencers, and so I was really excited to do it because it tapped back into that like fire, that
that energy.
I'm gonna just succeed. Whatever. I'm just gonna
100%.
figure it out, And there she was, 7 months pregnant, running camps every single weekend in the middle of COVID. And it's like, I think that the way that maybe WWE viewed me as a pregnant lady and the way that the rest of the world is starting to view pregnancy is like totally different. Because like,
in a sense,
I was like, I'm pregnant, whatever. I'll keep working. I'll become the pregnant champ, and I'll just keep on doing my thing until I can't fly, which was the thing. Is like at the end there, my doctor didn't want me flying past a certain number of weeks. And so I was okay at least for another 4 weeks when WWE took me off TV. So whatever. But like I find that every single challenge is just so exciting to overcome.
100%.
And that's what last year was. It was another challenge to overcome.
Yeah.
And the last time WWE fired me, I traveled and went to every single wrestling company out there. And now there's another new wrestling company that I haven't quite been to, but I know that JR is pulling for me. So, there's 1,000 possibilities out there, and I'm really excited about that.
No, 100%. I can't, wait to see what's, in the future of your guys. But I did want to ask, from that first run up until, I think it was 2010 when you left, right? Right,
yeah, they released me in 2010.
Yeah. So what were some of your first memories? Like, who did you enjoy working with the most? Because I went back and like, I was just doing some research. I was like, I want to see who, like, did she mesh well with and who she didn't. And I noticed, like, you usually get one of the biggest pops throughout the entire show. Like, when your theme hit, like, I love that theme, by the way. It's so good.
Thank you. I still love it. I tried to get them to let me have it. And, like,
no way.
Superhead was like, yeah, of course you can use it when you come back. And then WWE just didn't. So,
I think, yeah.
I don't know why, but... So I think some of the best matches I had were against Victoria. Were Maurice, because of her, she was just so fun and just so. I just love working with her.
No, you guys
Michelle
did
McCool
had some great
was
matches. Yeah.
awesome,
Hmm.
especially in her heel run. Oh my gosh, all of the Lay Cool stuff was so fun.
That was good stuff. Yeah.
You know, and then Nikki, as far as wrestling goes, tagging with
Mhm.
her was incredible. She's such a professional, but she gets her little comments when you're in the ring with her, and I'm just like, no, stop! I'm trying to here.
Sorry, no.
With you, and like it would ease so much of that tension in the ring and like being scared. But like,
yeah,
I mean, I had an incredible time working with Beth, you know, Jillian and Melina and Beth and Mickey. And I know I'm forgetting people, but after Trish and Lita left, like those girls were the backbone of the wrestling part, and everybody built off of them. I'm sure I'm missing people, and I apologize because there were so many incredible women.
So much great talent. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, yes, there were the divas, but there was also the girls that, like, had came from wrestling, like, independent wrestling. And then there were girls like Michelle McCool, who all of a sudden just, like, she blew up. She was so athletic.
Yeah.
And then Candice Michelle, who worked her tail off. She would go in early and she would work so hard. And when she became champ, it's because she deserved it.
100%. I think, you know, a lot of people say that some people don't like deserve the champion, but like people don't know what goes behind like in the process of like creating a match or like getting there. Like there's so many little micromanaging things that people in the outside bubble of professional wrestling that don't get it. And it's just like, even if you try explaining it to them, it's like talking to a brick wall. But like I'm glad like you get it. Like that's really cool. But no, taking a step outside of WWE, in 2011 you decided to expand your horizons and join ROH. Like how was that experience for you? I know you worked with like Adam Cole, Kevin Steen. You had that great one with the Kingdom, with, you know, alongside Mike Bennett. Like, tell me about that whole experience. Like, how was it like going to ROH?
So I saw my first Ring of Honor show when I was dating Punk, and I don't know what year it was, long time ago, maybe like 2007, something like that. So I saw Ring of Honor when like it was that gritty crew of guys that were just so very good. And Ring of Honor was what was like resetting the scales of wrestling and what it was. I mean, it went from being all these very big jacked up guys to being these guys that were fast and they could do all these crazy moves. And Ring of Honor was that tipping point. And so I saw my first show with Punk and I just fell in love with it. And I was like, I wanted to be a part of it. And as soon as I left WWE, Ring of Honor got in touch with me. And I was like, I'm not ready. Like, I needed some time from WWE. I was not, I didn't know.
You're not in the right space.
I was, I needed like to rethink what I was doing.
Same things. Yeah.
And of course, wrestling pulls you back in. So when I started dating Mike and, you know, being around the Ring of Honor crew, I was like, all right, maybe this is a possibility. And then they asked me to do one thing with him. And I was like, okay, let's try that, see what happens. And then I was and I'm so blessed. Like I've worked with so many like talented individuals. You know, I've worked with Steen and I worked with Adam Cole and the Bucks and
AJ Styles
when he was in Ring of Honor.
And
I worked with, I worked with Carl and Doc, and we had this crazy run together. And like, so I am a sponge of knowledge because of it, because I've worked with the best.
No, 100%. It was some of your best work, you know, watching it as a fan. Like, I want to say, there were like so many clips that went viral of you like taking crazy friggin' bumps. Like there was a pile driver. There was like that triple super kick, I believe, from the Bucks and AJ. How was that? Like,
Yep.
how was that?
I had quite a look on my head. I'll have to admit, like some of them, like they just get you. But yeah, that one was pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you know what? One of the worst things I've ever experienced was a super kick from my husband.
Oh no. Was it just like?
We had done like a super kick on just some indie show. Not a whole lot of people were watching, whatever. And he whiffed, like just nothing happened. So when it came time to do the pay-per-view for Ring of Honor, we were like, all right, we have to connect. Like this cannot happen. So I lean in and he brings it. And I was just like, I felt out like I was one of the Three Stooges or something. Just like talking like it was just ridiculous. It looked fake because it literally like hit me and I went, oh my goodness.
No, it knocks the wind out of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I've never been afraid though of taking bumps. Like I've taken all the bumps from the guys and stuff, and like that's never been the thing, you know. Some people are like, "Oh, you just can't hack it in the ring," and da da da. I was like, "No, if you watch my matches, they're just not
like relax,
good.
Mark. Like you know what I mean."
I said, like I've given birth twice now, and like let me just say that nothing you take in the ring will ever compare to giving birth. So like, no, the bumps don't bother me. But like, I love those moments where it's like the attention is on that one thing and everyone's looking. And when you are a manager and you take a crazy move that's where all the attention is. And so, yes, I am an attention hog and that is why I love managing.
Who doesn't love attention, right? But you know what? It's one of those things that you just can't help it in the business. You wouldn't
get in this business if you didn't. You know,
right?
That is you're in it. It's because, you know, that the fans and creating something that people get excited about.
No, 100%. But you know, while being in Ring of Honor, you also met Mike Bennett. Like, how did that come together? Like, I hear stories all the time, like on Twitter or like interviews, and I was like, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we met actually at an indie show before we ever both were in Ring of Honor. So met at an indie show. I was actually managing Matt Taven. So just a weird full circle kind of thing. So I was there. It was my first wrestling show back. I didn't want to I just didn't want to be back in the wrestling world yet. And so there I am. I'm doing this signing. I'd been begged to come out and do these things. I was like, fine, I will do some signings. So I get there, I manage Taven, and I see Mike backstage. He's shoveling pizza in his face, and he's got this Ring of Honor hat on. And I was like, oh, hey, you know, because at wrestling shows, you like shake hands with everybody.
No, 100%. That's the rule.
Make like small talk and stuff. And so I was like, oh, you work for Ring of Honor? And he's like this big, jacked up guy. Like back then, he was like big. And so there, and I was like, oh, you know, you work for Ring of Honor? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Yay.
Yeah.
So, to make a long story short, like we all go out to dinner like we always do. I am making fun at the dinner, and like we were both dating other people. There was nothing happening. So a couple months later, we're both single. He direct messages me. And it kind of goes from there. Very modern story. Yes, we are very modern.
Gotta keep it PG. But no, that's great. That's actually, you know, really cool how that came together. But what were some like fond memories of like working with Mike? Like, do you have any favorite memories working together? Like, tell me about that.
I have one overall memory that I don't think people understand. It is incredibly difficult to work with somebody that, especially when you're in the same industry, that has more fame than you.
Yeah.
And because I was coming from WWE, I had a bigger fan following, and Mike never let it get to him. It never.
No, that's great.
It never it was never a thing. It's a bigger thing for the fans than it is for him. And I think that's a tough thing for people to understand, is to have uh, someone like Mike, who's this incredible wrestler, to be
Mhm.
dating someone like me, that I come from the WWE world and I had my fan following. And, you know, so that, and then like Mike knew that I wanted to finish out my time in WWE. I thought, you know, this time back going to WWE, that was it. I was just
Yeah.
going to, you know, fulfill my 5 years. And then after that, maybe, you know, sign some kind of pay per appearance deal or whatever, like,
Yeah.
to remain under the WWE bubble. And, you know, when we both got fired, I think one of the biggest things that bothered him, and that makes me just love him even more, is he was
Mhm.
more offended that they fired me than they were that they fired him. He
Yeah.
was ready. He wanted to go. For me, I thought I was home. I thought that's where I was going to be. And, you know,
No, yeah.
I saw myself going to all these Hall of Fames, like for the rest of my, you know, rest of my days. I'd be there,
Colleagues,
like
yeah.
paying moolah, like,
Mhm.
you know, but, you know, it just, that's not what happened. But the way that he reacted to it, and how he was angry, so angry that they released
No, who
me.
wouldn't? Yeah.
And I was 8 weeks postpartum, so I was like a mess
Yeah.
still. And
It must have been hard. No. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was crazy, but you know, it brought us closer together, and so for that, I'm appreciative.
No, he's the man. Like, I literally can't wait for, what company signs him. Like, I actually mean that. Like, I've been a big fan of the Kingdom. Like, I remember, short story. You came to Toronto for a show, and like, I didn't have like, I didn't think I had money, or like something. It was something to do with those lines. I remember you guys were like, it was some Smash wrestling show, I believe, in Toronto. And I was like,
Yeah.
yo, I can't, yeah, and I can't wait to meet them. And like, it didn't happen. So like, to interview you and like possibly Mike in the future. So pretty cool opportunity. But I didn't want to talk about your run in Japan. Like, how was that experience like for you? Like, how is it different energy, the atmosphere, and like, working in Japan compared to like North America? Like, do you plan on going there once the pandemic ends?
So no, it was one of those weird things that just kind of happened out of nowhere. So Mike had a match with Tanahashi, and like,
Yeah.
he really wanted to go to Japan, and so I was talking to Carl about that, and then you know, I thought nothing of it, you know, nothing gonna happen, and then
Yeah.
he gets a call, and they wanted us to come over with the Kingdom, and at the time it was with Adam Cole, so you know, we went over, and it was great. I mean, they treated me like a queen. I had my own locker room. Like, I
Yeah.
had 2 t-shirt runs when I was over there, and they respected the heck out of me, and it was great. The fans are the crowd experience is different because they watch and then they clap, and
You clap.
so
It's a
you
different
have
crowd.
to create moments where you can pause, or else they're not going to clap because they're enjoying the action. They're so respectful. They're wonderful. You know, they would take you out to dinner and like drive you around, and it was great. We can't wait to hopefully get the opportunity to go back.
No, I can't wait either. Especially like the, I think it was a viral clip of Carl Anderson and you like having that face off, and it was pretty cool.
Have
But
you
like,
seen the
how's
one
like
with AJ?
which one? Where he's like,
Okay, so
is he dancing?
Carl's in there dancing.
Yeah.
AJ comes in and is like, "What are you doing?"
Mhm.
And Carl's like, "No, look." And
Oh, that one. Yeah, yeah.
whoops the hair out of AJ's face. I almost lost it. I was like, "No, this is."
But your
not.
facial reactions are so good. You're like, what?
It was so fun. Oh my gosh, those guys. And a funny story. Carl landed on my head one day.
Oh no.
I was not fast getting out of the ring. I've never been fast getting out of the ring. And he came out like a bullet, landed right on my head. And I was like, and I kept running. I thought he broke something. It was insane.
No, but it's a blast, working with your friends and like, just having a good time. But
Yeah.
like, I didn't want to talk about like the pandemic. Like, how have you been keeping in check mentally with yourself in order to be content with like your family, your husband, and like just overall mentally? Like, how do you deal with that?
So I don't shy away from it. Some of
Mhm.
the like some of the scariest things in the world, we just like shut down, like, oh, it's not happening, and then we
Japan,
explode.
yeah. Hmm.
And no, I don't do that. I feel things thoroughly. If I am
Yeah.
feeling this way today, that's okay. I am feeling
Yeah.
whatever way today.
Hmm.
My husband's a recovering drug addict, so like he handles things in another way, and
Yeah.
it's been very difficult on him throughout this pandemic because all the things that he used to do to keep those tendencies in check, whether it
Hmm.
be traveling or working or going to the gym, or for a while there, you couldn't do anything. And
Yeah.
so we were just in the house with a newborn and a 2-year-old. And it was, at first, she wasn't even 2 yet. So, like,
Hmm.
we had 2 under 2. And, that was really tough. But we dance a lot in this house. Like, I have a sign in my kitchen. The kitchen's made for dancing. And like
Hmm.
that's what it is. We dance a lot. We try not to take things too seriously. And every couple of months, Mike and I go away for a night. And like literally, it is to go away and to just eat as much food as possible. It's
No,
like
100%.
insane. we just we order. I order 2 pieces of cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory. I get like 5 appetizers. It's
Hmm.
insane. We have so much food. We just did this before he went on his I Miss Wrestling tour.
Yeah.
And so we did that. We had margaritas. They were the strongest margaritas I've ever had in my life. I was like,
No,
fell
man.
asleep at I think like 8:30 because it was too much. It
Wow.
was like so strong. But that's what we do. And
Hmm.
um, luckily, we have a wonderful family, great support system. Yes, we did a trip across the country to go visit family out in Massachusetts. I still don't know what we were thinking. We had a 2-year-old, and like I think he 4 or 5 months at the time. We drove across country from Illinois to Massachusetts because we didn't want to fly. We didn't
No, I
know
know.
about COVID, but it was like so early in the pandemic.
Hmm.
Um, we just try and keep it moving here.
No, 100%. I think if you just have your family together, that's all you really need because, especially in a pandemic like this, we've never really experienced something like this for like a
No.
long, long time ago. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool to have your family and just do your thing. But that's really cool. But with almost like I said, a year ago, you guys were let go by the company. How has this year compared to last year been? Like, what are some key lessons that stick out to you?
So do you mean in 2020 to 2021, or what
Oh
do you
yeah,
mean
the
by
the
that?
pandemic. Like one of it.
So I think that I think with WWE,
Hmm.
especially for me, I thought, okay, that's it. I'm going to stay in
Hmm.
WWE, and that's going to be the end of it. Um, and what you quickly realize is that things can change so very fast.
On a dime, yeah.
And so you might as well enjoy whatever it is,
Hmm.
because who the hell knows what tomorrow is going to bring? I mean, who knew that a pandemic was going to happen? Like, it's insane.
It's,
And
it's
then
crazy, yeah.
economic recession and all this stuff, and like people that are riding the castle, like the Capitol. Like, it's just crazy
Hmm.
how weird things can get.
No,
So
100%.
just enjoy everything. And when
Hmm.
fans come back and like it's safe, I think I might just hug everyone and just like a big hug mosh pit, because
No, yeah.
uh, you just didn't. You took that experience for granted. I
No,
think because
100%.
I've been doing it for so long, I think this year is actually 17 years that I've been in wrestling.
Damn.
So, like, 16 years of being in front of crowds.
Mm-hmm.
Just in front of crowds. That was just normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then WrestleMania, the year before I was let go, I remember walking out and being not that impressed.
Really?
It's just like, I want to go home. Like, I'm not enjoying this.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because it was a really weird building. They weren't letting people's families in. My daughter was outside with my mother-in-law. They wouldn't let her inside. It was cold out. So I was just over it.
That's the one in New York, right? 35?
Yeah. Where everybody got stranded there too because the train stopped running. Like,
yeah, there was a lot of
weird year. And so I wouldn't say that I took that experience for granted, but I took it too seriously. Like, I was mad about a lot of things. So moving forward, I'm just going to enjoy that there will be fans someday. I
guess it's like with the solid grain. Like, they're talking about letting fans in for WrestleMania like this year and next year. So, we don't know what's going to happen.
I'm sure they will. It's down in Florida. It's the Wild Wild West down there. So, like, I'm sure that there will be fans. I mean, there was fans at the Super Bowl, so I can't imagine that there wouldn't be. And but at the same time, there was like 7,000 healthcare workers at the Super Bowl who had all been vaccinated. So it's like, you're not really. Your danger isn't quite as much. So I hope they do let fans back in. I think people are ready for, like, that's like with my husband. Like, I could tell in his, like, the look in his eyes was, I want to go back and work. And so I was like, you know what? Go. Just go. I got this. I got the kids. Mm-hmm. It'll be fine. I might have lots of gray hairs and need like a 3-day weekend away from everybody after. It'll be fine. Mm-hmm. But he's gone on an 11-day tour right now. And he's not coming home because of COVID. He's going to go and then he's going to get tested before he comes back to the tiny ones. But it's important to do that. Like, it's important to be around humans again.
I think I was starting to lose my mind, and then I started this podcast. I'm like, you know what? And then it turned into like something huge, and then I got like Tyson Kidd on, and and it's cool. It's been a long journey, but like it's starting to pay off, one by one. But I did want to ask, like, if WWE called you one day and they were like, hey, we want Maria back and like Mike back too, like, would you guys go back? Like,
so I'm sure that Mike will at some point. That's how that company rolls. For me, there would have to be some guaranteed money. I've always done the contracts where it's like, there's a downside, but that's not guaranteed. And with two tiny ones, and with how many years I've spent in this industry, and I gave WWE over 8 years of my life. Like, I think there'd have to be some guaranteed money of like, okay, no matter what, we're going to pay you this. Even if we release you tomorrow. It's just like a football contract. I mean, that's what they do in all sports. And at this point in my life, I think that's what it would have to be. Because not only that, but like, I'm getting my master's degree and I have my bachelor's degree. I have offers to go and work a 9-to-5 job or an event planning job. I'm talking to one of my professors right now about becoming a professor. So like, there are guarantees out there in this world, as far as like money. So like, I feel as if there would have to be a few guarantees. I mean, I'm turning 39 at the end of this month. Like, come on. Like,
no, you gotta make
it around 10 years from now. I probably won't be doing the same things, but like, I've been in this for almost 20 years. Yeah. You could probably figure out me being in it for another 10, if not 20 years. Yes, I'll probably be behind the scenes, but like, this is my life. So I'm going to need a few guarantees moving forward.
100%. I mean, hey, they brought back Goldberg. Why can't they bring back you? You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You know, and Goldberg is a lovely man. He was
He's
wonderful
great. No.
with me when we were on Celebrity Apprentice. But like, you know, it's yeah, I'm at that point in my life of like, okay, that's cool. Thanks, that was fun. But
Yeah.
you know, so it's a little of this.
Money talks, right? But what were some like long-term plans for you guys in like 2017? Because like when you guys made your debut, I was like I have to like do something with these guys because you know they killed it like everywhere, and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So like
I mean,
what was...
we got hired 4 months before we debuted, so we sat for 4 months. So we came in knowing that we were fighting an uphill battle. Somebody really wanted us, and then for whatever reason, things got put the kibosh to.
Yeah.
So we, when we came in, we thought Mike was going to have this really good run of me just managing him and him, you know, just having these incredible wrestling matches with guys that he's worked with 1,000 times before.
Sami Zayn, you know,
Sami Zayn, and like, you know, just he worked with Bobby Roode and Bobby Lashley and Drew and like all these guys. Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, and like we had already worked with them. Kevin, we had worked with. Like Kevin was fighting for us to come into WWE, and he still apologizes.
He's the man, though. Yeah.
It is okay, Kevin. It's okay. But like, so the plan was to build Mike as a singles wrestler. And somewhere along the way, and I have a feeling it has a lot to do with him coming out with his addiction, and then me announcing that I was pregnant, I think they just kind of took a step back from us and everything that they wanted to do with us. But I say this to Mike all the time. That second week, we were dead in the water. I could tell. Before I announced that I was pregnant, before Mike had came out with that he had an addiction, it literally went. We had this big, you know, a big debut. The next week they put it online. So like, I knew we were done, and I don't know who didn't like us. At the end of the day, I don't care, and I'm pissed.
No, I would be too.
Saying every curse word I've ever heard in my entire life. I was going through all the Greek ones, the Spanish ones, the French, like every curse word I've ever heard. Because I knew we were done. Because I know how Vince McMahon thinks when it comes to, if he's going to push you, all right, the ball's going to roll no matter what. No matter how terrible you do, if Vince wants you to succeed, he will push you there.
Oh, we've seen that.
Because we were online the second week, we were done. We were done. Before the pregnancy announcement, before any of it, we were done.
I mean, it's hard, you know, especially like in the WWE landscape. Like, there's so many bones to give out. Like in NXT, like Undisputed Era is killing it right now. But like again, that thought comes to your mind. It's like once you get to the main roster, like what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? Like it's hard.
I mean, and look at how many guys have done that. Like, you know, how many guys have came up to the main roster and then nothing. I mean, you look at some of these incredibly talented guys and like, I mean, they don't fade. WWE makes them fade.
100%. Yeah, like it's such a hard chip on your shoulder to just keep moving, keep rolling with those stones and everything. But I did want to talk about one specific storyline. You and Ricochet, like back in 2019, like what was the blow off to that? Because I remember the pop was like what just happened, but like what was the blow off to that?
So it was supposed to be this storyline where I was just berating him the whole time. I was still on the road while pregnant. And then it was going to be Mike turned on me. And so it was supposed to be like, I'm sick of your shit, lady. I'm going to do this on my own. And then I was going to go on maternity leave. And then he was going to have this singles run and use all the things he had been through with, dating an evil woman and having this addiction and all this stuff. He was going to use it as a baby face to really start getting some wins and get the ball rolling. And then that, of course, ended as well. So, and some of our segments were like the highest rated during Raw for weeks on end. And I just don't think Vince liked it, which, it's fine. He didn't understand Breezango either. Like, you hear all those stories of like, he just doesn't get it. And so I'm sorry you don't get it. The fans enjoyed it. I get so many women that come up to me and are like, oh my gosh, thank you for showing that a woman can be on national television while pregnant. You're, you've inspired me to work out while I'm pregnant. You like, so many people came up to me and thanked me. So it's like, that sucked. Okay, Vince didn't get it, whatever. But like in the grand scheme of things, the people that I actually care about, that is, they got it. They understood it. They were excited about it. And now it gives us this great platform to move on from there. Because, like, nothing is, like, you never watch a TV show where everything is just great. Like, oh, the sun came out today. And, oh, I fell in love with my soulmate. And then, oh, we had these perfect kids. And, oh, my dream house was for $1. Like, that doesn't happen. You watch a TV show, and it is literally like one shitty thing after the next. And the part that people really get excited about is when they overcome those shitty things.
The obstacles,
so, like that's life, man. And that's why people love wrestling so much, is because it's literal fighting for what you believe in.
Exactly. Like, you got to go against the odds and, like, stick up for what you believe in against the anti-establishment. And I think that's a great way to look at it. But I did want to talk about the AEW women's division. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, would you, you talked about JR pulling for you. Like, is there, can we see Mike and Maria go down to AEW possibly?
So I don't know. I'm open to anything. Wrestling wise, it's not at the forefront of my mind. For Mike, that's everything to him. All he cares about is wrestling. And being a really good professional wrestler. But for me, if the opportunity were to come about, like came about in Impact, I would love that. I love fighting for other women. I'd love to manage a woman. I think that even though we've made so many strides, there's so much work still to do. And I'm excited to see like this next crop of girls, because there's some really excellent women out there. And I want to know more than just a 10-minute match. I want a story. I want, I want them to be just as important as the dudes that are out there. I want them to be just as integral to the storylines. And I think that there's an opportunity in any company that goes for it.
100%.
So I'm pulling for a lot of the girls out there right now. I have some announcements that I'm making in Ring of Honor coming up here in the next few months that I'm excited about. So it's out there. There's definitely a lot of women that are fighting for more.
100%. I think there's so much fish in the water right now with like all the talent across the world, and like, I can't wait. Like, there's so many people that are just striving for an opportunity.
Back together, it's gonna be insane. Like,
100%.
There's some women wrestlers over in England right now that I'm like, oh my god, you guys are amazing. And Australia is like a hotbed for women's wrestling. Like, there's a lot. I can't wait till everybody comes back together and it's like you get the best of the best from around the world.
100%. I think especially now, like, shows are starting to like open up, like local indie shows. So they're starting to like local shows here and there. But like, I think slowly, like eventually, like, it will come together and it's gonna be great. Like, we're all gonna embrace, So But I did want to talk about like you know, on social media you tend to strike back at the trolls. How does that like like how do you keep that in your head, like knowing like, hey, this is just social media, like I shouldn't take it so far, or you know what I mean? Like how do you deal with that, like the hate on social media?
I don't care.
That's one way to say it.
I just don't care.
Mhm.
I have a very good perspective on it. Every single person that says something insulting, I just see as like some like a 10-year-old, and like I just don't care.
No.
Because for every one insult, there are 100
No.
positive things, and like
Mhm.
so I just don't care. I I see all of the like the fakeness of the fake news and the fake stories and all this bull that's out
Yeah.
there. And like after Mike and I were released was really like the moment that I went, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't matter what our truth is. What
Mhm.
matters is like what gets out there. And
Yeah.
like so that's why I don't care. I put stuff out there for the people that are are nice to me. Everyone else, whatever, that's fine.
Screw 'em.
And maybe
Mhm.
they lose sleep about it. Maybe they don't. I don't care. And I used to care so much, especially when I was young, and social media was just starting because nobody understood what social media was. Um, and now I will literally have people say back to me in insulting ways the exact same thing that I said. Like I said, I'm not a great wrestler. And then I continued on. I don't even remember what the tweet was. And then someone wrote back to me and goes, "You're not even a wrestler." And I literally went, "What? No,
What?
I'm not a
Yeah.
wrestler. Thank you." Like,
That's what you
can
just
you
said,
just
right?
repeat back to me exactly what?
Mhm.
Like, I don't care. I
Yeah.
really like. I
Mhm.
just it
Mhm.
doesn't make me lose sleep.
That's a great way to look at it. But I think some people like to take it to like some crazy limits where it's just like it's not the biggest like thing that like lose sleep over, like you said, and like they'll come at you and like just say personal stuff. But I think the way you look at it is so cool because a lot of people like with Hannah Kimura last year, like people bullied her and like that was so hard on her. But like I think just people on social media need to like settle down. Like wrestling is wrestling. Like let's keep that in the bubble and spread positivity. But
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
someone said to me like, "Oh, you look like you're 55," and I was like, "Okay, cool. Then I'm a good-looking 55-year-old." Like, what?
I think that
Like,
tweet popped off like on my timeline. I was like, that's funny. but no,
what?
well, I know.
So
Mhm.
okay. Like, well, I could be doing a lot worse for myself. Like, I have
No,
two
yeah,
kids that love me and a husband. Like, I'm good. Like,
live life, yeah. But like,
why are you so
think
mad? Like, I don't know.
Mhm. No, but I think if people said this to like people wouldn't even say this stuff to you in real life. Like they'll hide behind like a
No.
computer or like a phone. Like they wouldn't say this stuff to like you or Mike or like anybody in the
Oh,
wrestling
they're so
business because
awful to Mike. Oh my
yeah.
God, they are so terrible to him. They think it's real. They think they really think it's real. Like, what? Like, are you
Steal the
kidding?
real of them,
Like,
damn it.
no. Like,
Mhm.
they really think like Ricochet is like the father of my baby, and like, what? No, none of it is real. Like,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. I was getting paid to do it. Like, I think people need to take a step back,
Mhm.
and realize that that's just a story.
Yeah.
And we were paid to do a story. We signed a contract that said, you know what, you're going to do this story. And so we did a story.
Mhm.
And people are going to think what they're going to think. But
Hey,
when you
you
watch Walking Dead, you don't believe that zombies are taking over the world. Like,
right?
no,
Mhm.
zombies are not taking over the world. And no, my son or my daughter do not belong to another man. They belong to my husband. So, zombies and my storyline, same thing, everybody. You got
Hey,
this.
even if you saying that to the marks on Twitter, like they still wouldn't get it,
No,
It's
they
like,
don't get it. No, they don't care. They want to believe what they want to believe, and that's fine. But like, at the end of the day, I've been doing this for 17 years, probably do it for another 17 more. And guess what? That's because there are more people out there that enjoy what I do than the weirdos on social media that believe the bullshit.
no, 100%. That's such a great way to look at it. But I got one final question for you. I'm sorry for keeping you so long, but
It's okay. The
what is the
babies are
next chapter?
sleeping.
That's great. It was one of their birthdays, I think, last week, right? You posted on
Yeah,
Twitter. So
my son.
yes,
He's one.
happy birthday to him. Shout out to him. But what's the next chapter for Maria Kanellis-Bennett?
Right now, I'm signed with Ring of Honor for the next few months. So I'll be doing their tapings. Hopefully, that leads to something bigger. But I'm really enjoying the opportunities that Ring of Honor is giving me right now, and I hope that leads to more. I think that Ring of Honor is in a really great place in wrestling. They did the Pure tournament, which got so many great reviews. We're doing the Experience, which is hashtag Choose Your Honor. It's a Facebook page, and like that page has just brought in so many different fans to a new kind of experience in wrestling, and I'm leading that up. Like I said, I'm making a big announcement in the next few weeks on Ring of Honor, so
that's gonna be great.
yeah, things are moving along, and hopefully the world opens up again and I can have my big hug mosh pit. Maybe I'm gonna get a t-shirt made that just says "Hug me" and mosh with me. I don't know.
Let's do it.
It could happen.
Let's do it.
I told Mike not too long ago, I was like, all those things when I was younger that I was like, oh, I don't want to do that or whatever. Like, I was never like an electronic music festival person, but now I want to go hit all of them up. Mostly because I watch Jess King on my Peloton, and that's who my instructor is, and she loves like electronic music, and so I'm now drawn into this, and so I'm like the old lady that's like at all these shows, and I don't care. I'll wear like a outfit that'll make me look like something, but like I am really excited about what comes next.
No, I can't wait. And, congrats to Mike finally going out and performing. Shout out to him. But I thank you for taking the time for doing this. Where can we find you on social media?
So on Twitter, it's Maria L. Kanellis. On Instagram, it's Maria Kanellis. If you want to follow me or, I don't know, become a patron of mine, I have a Patreon account, which is just Maria Kanellis. If you want to listen to our podcasts are out there on YouTube. We are planning on coming back with our podcast. We like to do like a few weeks and then take a little bit of a break. And also find us on Ring of Honor. I mean, the show's amazing. And we're really excited about what we're doing moving forward.
Ring of Honor is the future, but I thank you for taking the time for doing this, and I can't wait to see what's the chapter for you.
Well, good luck to you, and congratulations on this new endeavor.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And that is the interview. I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. Thank you for always supporting the Dropkick podcast. I seriously can't wait to share more interviews, and I have so much lined up for the rest of the month and in March and stuff. So thank you guys for all supporting. Follow Dropkick Pod on Instagram. Follow Maria on Instagram and her Twitter. It will be in the description. And thank you so much for everybody to keep watching. Like, share, subscribe. Keep doing it. I appreciate everybody. And I'll see you guys in the next interview.